Okay, so a very good evening one more time, everyone. Online participants, am I audible? Right, yeah, very good evening, Sana. Very good evening, guys, everyone. Yeah, good morning. I, I mentioned good evening only, right? Not good morning? Okay. Acha, okay, right. Okay, are from? Alim? Okay, nice. United States. So, how's your day, everyone? Huh? It's good? It's bad? Okay. So, okay, okay, good, right, nice, great, yes. Okay, in my case, it's good. Okay, right, perfect. So today, let's try to focus on introduction to stats part. So from the last 4 days, we discussed about introduction to data analytics, business analytics, Power BI, and then we focused on understanding SQL. And just yesterday, we discussed about Tableau, how to work with Tableau, what are all the implications and that we discussed. Yeah, same to you, Jyoti. Happy Friday. Okay. So tomorrow today we'll be going with statistics understanding. So by the way, any new participants for today? Okay, you joined first class online. Earlier you joined. This is the first class itself, both online and offline. Same thing goes. Okay, nice. So in case if it's the first session for today, I'll suggest you to go with the previous recordings too. Okay. For the last 4 days, we're having that recordings, but even the admin team will provide you the recordings, everything. So you can just take the reference out there and we'll proceed further. So there we discussed about the basic introduction to start data science, data analytics, business analytics, what are the job opportunities available. So what are the tools that we are going to cover? Okay. So these are all the things that we discussed. So today, let's try to focus more upon what is the purpose of utilizing statistics, okay, and how it's going to be applicable in the data analytics and data science that what you're going to do. End of the day, what are all the tools that you utilize without integrating it with your statistics understanding? You may not fetch that some really meaningful insights out of it. What I mean to say is, when we're talking about statistics in general, so what are the topics that you're familiar with? Anyone you're familiar with statistics? I think in graduation or somewhere in our schooling, we we discussed about those statistics things, right? Hmm? So long. Okay. But anyhow, a slight recap, if I'm asking you. Hmm? Tables is there, okay. Still, hmm? Probability, okay. Mean, median, mode. This in itself, we call it as measures of central tendency. Measures of dispersion is there. Variance, standard deviation, correlation, good. And covariance, sample, population, sampling techniques. Yes or no? So slowly, I think you can able to connect it, right? So these are some of the few topics that we discussed in our schooling, right? So yes, regressions, correlations, and I think in our schooling we haven't discussed statistics in depth. Maybe there to clear an examination to get pass marks. So we more entered into the descriptive stats part where we'll be focusing more upon frequency distributions, cumulative frequency distribution, mean, median, mode, variance, standard deviation. These are some of the things that we discussed. Probability distributions. So here, along with that, we are even going to focus little deep with some inferential stats too. Inferential statistics is nothing but you'll be dealing with some tests inside it. Okay, let's give you an overall idea. So what are the things that we are going to cover in statistics and why understanding statistics is really important? We'll discuss about it. So here, if you can closely see, instead of calling it statistics, here we are calling it with business statistics, right? That means the days are gone where we just learn that particular subject to get some good marks. Yes or no? So now here we'll be trying to connect the same statistics topics, concepts which have been available with business case studies, the business problem statements, how to connect it and how to get some meaningful insights out of it. So for that, we'll be proceeding with this part, business statistics. So whenever we are trying to differentiate it into segments, the statistics itself is divided into two parts. The first part I can call it as descriptive statistics. And the other part we can consider it as inferential statistics. So when we are referring to descriptive statistics and inferential statistics, the simple difference is either you will go with descriptive or either you will go with inferential. You will be working with past historical data. Past historical data. What I mean to say past historical data, whatever the data that has been generated till today, even last 1 hour, you can consider it as past historical data, right? So for example, you're just performing some analysis. You're working on with one particular data that in itself is generated till the last 1 hour, 6 o'clock. That you can assume it as past historical data. Now, what you usually do in descriptive statistics is you will be focusing on data collection and you will be focusing on data organization. You'll be organizing the data. Along with that, you will be focusing more upon the basic data exploration. You'll explore your data. What are the nuances of it, everything. Cleaning is required. You'll be cleaning it. And then finally, you will be taking some insights out of it. Insights in the sense you'll be going and connecting it with data visualization part. Yesterday in Tableau, we performed some visualizations. Day before and day before yesterday, we discussed about Power BI data visualizations. So what exactly the data that you're having from that particular data set, you're taking some meaningful insights out of it. Okay. That is something we are going to discuss here. As far as descriptive stats is concerned, what are the past historical data is that utilizing that particular data, you'll be analyzing it and you'll be concluding something out there. But basically in inferential stats, what you are going to do is, again, here also you are going to deal with past historical data only, but you are going to predict something for future. Here you'll be focusing more upon predictions. You'll be focusing more upon forecasting too. I think few of the students you asked right yesterday or day before yesterday, a difference between data analyst, data scientist. So for data scientist people, these things will be helpful. They'll be focusing more upon predictions, forecasting, all these things. Okay. As far as data analyst, business analyst concerned, we are more inclined towards descriptive statistics part. But still, I just tried including both descriptive as well as inferential statistics in your syllabus. Descriptive stats is more than enough as far as data analyst is concerned, but still I just added inferential stats in case if you're going to an interview, any questions have been coming on that part, you can able to depict this. Simple. Data. So basically there itself, you'll be going more upon with the prediction part, the forecasting kind of. Mm. Mm? Inferential part. Mm. Okay. So I'll be testing the data, ANOVA test, chi-square test, right? So I'll be going with the correlation, understanding, covariance, Pearson correlation. So these things, regressions. Okay. So now let's focus on these two things. When you're focusing on descriptive stats as well as inferential stats, first thing first, let's try to restrict ourselves for today with the descriptive stats understanding. Okay. the basic descriptive statistics understanding. While we are going with descriptive stats, I'll try to combine multiple topics and I'll try to picturize in the same way, okay, in one possible way, but I'll be including multiple things, just try to understand. So you can expect today's session little more of theoretical understanding, right? So last 3 days, the sessions are completely hands-on practical. So where you work with some writing some SQL queries, you work with some visualizations in Power BI, something colors, formatting, cosmetics part in Tableau, right? It's a little interesting. So today it's something more of mathematical intuition understanding, how these things work. Okay. So what I'm telling before, okay, eventually you should not feel bored. Okay. So just focus on this. Don't make it a little boring. Okay. At any given point of time, if you're feeling any doubt, any complexity, just update me. Okay. So the main, again, one more important thing while we are focusing on this descriptive stats part or stats in general, this in itself is very much useful while you're performing some data cleaning part. The first question comes to you is, what does this data cleaning mean? As you mentioned, we are performing some data analysis, all these things, data is there, but what does this data cleaning mean? Basically, whenever you're getting raw data, it's basically going to be in an unclean fashion. Unclean data in the sense, basically you're having multiple duplicates, rows available in it. Basically, you'll be having some null values in it. Null values are nothing but empty cells. So for example, you're having a small table with multiple columns and multiple rows in it. If you're picking an age column like this, if you're having something called 12, 42, data is there, 36. But in this cell, is there any data? Blank. This in itself, in our understanding, we call it within a null value. So to handle null values is also an equally important task. Why? Because storage, memory optimization, all these things we need to make a note. We are having something called outliers are available in data. We need to handle outliers. In case if you are having a column where which might not be important, you just need to remove that column. Unnecessary rows you need to remove. If a column itself is having one data type, but your requirement is to change the data type for that existing column, you need to change the data type. So these are all the things coming under your data cleaning part. Today, let's try to focus on one simple topic here. In majority of the cases, while you're performing some data cleaning activity, you will be finding out there's something called outlier. Any idea about outlier? Okay, I'll give you just 2 minutes of time. Quickly try to Google it and just try to explain me what might be this outlier mean and what are the consequences if you are having any outlier in your data. Okay, the question is, what is an outlier, Nitish? Okay, anomalies in the data set, extreme value in data set, value in data which is much higher or lower than rest. Okay, still deviate from the normal data. Okay, nice. Hmm. Okay. Huh? Okay. Abnormal data point available in your data set. Okay, fine. Hmm. Okay. Okay. Outlier is a data point that differs significantly. Okay. Okay. Right. Got it. So everyone, you just Google it, right? So now let me explain you what exactly is this outlier. So basically, if you are having any outlier available in your data set, it's a serious problem. Why? Because basically outliers will actually deviate your entire data analysis in a wrong way. Why? Let's try to understand what is an outlier. If you want to provide me, it's a simple definition. Outlier itself is nothing but it's an extreme data point available in your data set. It's an extreme data point available in your data set. Now take simple two cases: case 1, case 2. In case 1, I'm having a small data set which consists of data points like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is there any extreme value available in the data set? No. Some normal consecutive numbers. Fine, it's fine. There's no outlier. Here, I'm including one more data set. In case 2, you're having some data points like 1, 2, 3, 4, 90. Now, is there any extreme value available? And what is that extreme value? And this 90 itself is nothing but outlier. Whatever the number that you're having, which is an extreme number and which is not itself normally available in your data set. And that in itself, we are concluding it as an outlier. And every time outlier itself is not going to be an extreme high value. It can be an extreme low value as well. It can be even extreme negative number as well. Okay. Now let's try to understand what exactly is going to happen if you are having an outlier. Now here, let's try to focus on understanding a small topic called measures of central tendency. And now this is something that what we learned earlier with options mean, median, mode. Yes or no? I think we discussed all these things. I think we learned these things, mean, median, mode, everything in our schooling or graduation. So what is mean? What does this mean? It's an average, right? So what does this average formula? Sum of all observations by number of observations. If in case I am performing the mean value, I'll be getting 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 by 5. Automatically you will get 15 by 5. 5 threes are. Mean is going to be 3. Now for the same case, if I'm asking you to perform median value, may I know what is this median? Exact middle value, I guess. Right? Hmm. You're having odd numbers of data set 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you're picking the exact middle value, this in itself is your median value. Obviously, you're getting median 3. Mean is 3, median is also 3. It's fine, well and good. But now let's go with this concept called case 2. Let's focus on understanding mean. 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 90 by 5. 100 by 5. 520s. Now, what is the mean value that you are getting? Now, if you are picking median value, again 3. So, what usually happens here is if you are having any outlier available in your data set, and if you are trying to understand the average value, mean value, the analysis might go in a misleading way. Got my point? If in case, in the first case, the data points are like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, if you're performing average, you'll get 3. It's fine. But in second case, just due to that one outlier called 90, instead of getting average like 3, now you're getting average 20. Now let me explain you with one more use case so that you can able to understand a better way. Take two cases. I'm just orally communicating. Try to take mind map it. Two cases are there. In first case, there is one gated community. In that gated community, 100 individuals are there. And all the individuals of that particular gated community are falling under that age group 30 to 40. 30 to 40 for all the 100 individuals. Now, eventually, if I'm asking you what is the average, what usually happens? Somewhere in 35. Obviously, they'll get 35 in case 1. Now, let's come back to case 2. There is one gated community again. In that community, also 100 individuals are there. Among the 100 individuals, almost 95 individuals are falling under the same age again, 30 to 40. But there are 5 individuals. There are 5 individuals who are senior citizens. And those, it's not like senior citizens, very old age people. So, for example, they are like age 98, 99, 97. This kind of ages are there. Okay. Now, usually what happens here is, instead of getting an average of 35, now you'll get that average somewhere like 40. Got my point? What I mean to say? Here, average is going to be deviated. That means here almost 95 individuals are there between 30 to 40. How can you say that average is 42? Got my point? What I mean to say? The majority of the population in that gated community itself is between 30 to 40. Now, if you're performing an average, somewhere you will get 35 or something like that. But due to those people who are having old age, if you're performing an average, automatically now you are getting that average somewhere like 42 or 43. Now you cannot tell that that is your average, right? Technically, logically speaking, that is your average only. It's fine if you are including an outlier. But that might be manipulative too. Got my understanding what I mean to say? So at some circumstances, what you need to do is you need to handle some outliers too. Basically, when we are talking about outliers, for your easy understandability, outliers are again considered as two types. One is genuine category and the other one is not genuine category. There's nothing such thing like a topic genuine, not genuine. For your understandability, I'm just explaining. I'm just classifying it. Genuine, not genuine category. What I mean to say a genuine and not genuine category is, at some point of time, if you're having genuine values, even though it is an outlier, you're not supposed to remove it or you're not supposed to stick with it. So for example, you're having a column called age column. Basically, you're having some age values like 27, 30, 42, 26, 53, like this. And you're having one outlier like 101. Now, 101 is genuine or not genuine? Even consider rare situation, rare scenario also. Genuine, right? Okay, it's rare, but it's genuine only. There might be an individual with 101 age, right? Extreme. Now, this in itself, I am mentioning it as genuine category. Now, if you are having these kind of things, better don't drop these things. If you are mentioning, chalo, this is an outlier. If I'm performing an average, I'm getting manipulative result. Chalo, I'll remove this row. Is it a good practice? No, it's not a good practice. Because you're removing that person if you're removing that outlier. Am I right? So that is something not suggestible. But what does this not genuine outlier mean? So for example, ages will be that 27, 40, 51, 42, something you are having like 130. Is that 130 possible? Age? Is it possible, guys? Then definitely you need to remove it. If you are not removing it, obviously that entire average itself will be deviated. Once if your average itself is deviated, whatever the meaningful insights that you want to draw that conclusion part, eventually everything is misleading. Some typical genuine outlier examples are like, say for example, you're working in a company. Majority of the employees are having similar salary ranges. But say for example, CEO is there. Obviously, the salary of that particular CEO is little high. It's an outlier we can consider. Chalo, it's an outlier. My results are manipulative. If I'm performing an average, chalo, I'll remove that outlier. Is it a good practice? You're not supposed to do it, right? So what I mean to say is, depending upon that particular scenario, we just need to take that part and we just need to conclude what to do, what not to do. In case if it is a not genuine outlier, definitely you need to handle it. So for example, there is a column called weight, something called 400 kilograms. Without any doubt, remove it. Again, you need to classify it, whether it is coming under kilograms or pounds. All those things we need to measure, and then we can do that part. But what I mean to say is direct denotions are we need to focus on. Okay. So first thing first, when you are taking any outlier, first we need to understand whether is it genuine category or whether is it not genuine category. Based upon that understanding, whether we can proceed removing it, dropping it, or replacing it, all the strategies have been there. Let me explain you one more case study. What usually happens is, see, don't complicate it. Okay. So today the session is going to be a little more of theoretical only. So don't make it complicated. Just how much you're understanding, just take that much part. Okay. Simple. Try to understand it with some other real-time example so that you can easily able to articulate it. Outlier. We need to take that. We need to take that. So at that point of time, basically what usually happens is you need to take some expertise from domain expert. Basically, why? Because at some circumstances, if you're working with some basic data like age, weight, these kind of things, you can consider doing it. But when you're working with something like medical data or these kind of things, some of the features will be there, columns inside will, you might not be familiar. So eventually we can take some insights from domain expert and we can conclude that part. But we need to do that again. Data cleaning part. Okay. So let's take a simple case study. What usually happens here, take a simple scenario that you're having one Excel sheet. Okay. One simple table has been available with you. You're having multiple columns available in it. Multiple rows are available in it. Assume that you're having 4 columns and total of 100 rows are there. How many rows? 100 rows. How many columns? 4 columns. Assume that for first 3 columns, complete data is there. No outliers, no null values, nothing. Entire full data itself is available in first 3 columns. Yeah. No. Condition. You can just specify condition. If you are pretty much familiar that the result itself is falling under this particular bracket. So for example, you mentioned that age column is there. Okay. And you are pretty much familiar that any age which is falling greater than 105 or 108, that is not genuine. Got my point? So there you'll specify condition. If age greater than this number, then fetch the data. Now easily you can able to see that particular portion of data, not that entire data. Okay. So chalo, now 4 columns are there. For the first 3 columns, data is there. But for the last column, 4th column, assume that for 70 rows, data is there. For 70 rows, data is there. And remaining 30 rows, you are having some outliers available. Now, based upon this, what you're going to do? If you need to perform some data cleaning approach, And if you are trying to find an average, what you will do? Okay. Mm, 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 mm. Okay. Okay. Replacing. You mean to say replacing? Okay. Still, if you're performing any average on it, automatically you might get manipulative result. Definitely. Why? Because outliers are there. So how you are going to handle it now? Is it okay to drop this null outliers? Hmm? Dropping works? Hmm. We can't. In case chalo, not genuine, dropping works? Might not be again. Why? Because while you are trying to remove this 30 outliers, it's not possible to remove only these 30 outlier values. Basically, you will be removing this entire portion of data. Yes or no? This itself is not possible, right? To remove it. If you are trying to remove it, this entire remaining 3 columns also you are going to delete. But here data is there, right? Got my point? Here data is there, right? For first 3 columns. Now out of 100 rows, chalo 30 outliers are there. If I am removing 30 outliers, you are removing 30% of data from 100%. Now you're left with 70%. Now on that 70%, if you are doing some data analytic work, you'll get that meaningful insights out of that accuracy. No. At that point of time, you can think about replacing again. Replacing that outlier with any of the value, like measure of central tendency, like mean or median. Chalo, based upon this use case, just tell me one thing. If I want to replace those outliers with mean or median, you'll stick with mean or you'll go with median? Sure. Mean or median? How many are going with mean? Okay. How many are you going with median? No one? Okay. Online participants? Mean? Okay. So basically, it's better to go with median if you're having an outlier. It's always better practice to go with median. What I mentioned just now, if you are having two cases, see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you are performing mean, you will get 3. Even if you are performing median, you will get 3. But this is the case where there is no outlier. But if you are having an outlier, what is happening? 1, 2, 3, 4, 90. The mean is something you will be getting 20, guys. Try to understand it. You are not getting 3. Mean you are getting 20. Okay. Just a minute, guys. Okay. Okay. Leave it. Here, in case, what's happening is you're not getting mean of 3, you're getting mean of 20. But median, still you are getting 3. Middle value. In the case where you are going with the gated community example, 100 individuals are there. In that 100 individuals, if 95 individuals have been falling under the bracket 30 to 40 age group, if remaining 5 individuals are there with age 100, instead of getting average, average is nothing but mean only, right? If you're performing mean, instead of getting average mean 35, you are getting 40. Now, is it good practice to go with mean? No. But if you are going with median, in an order, you will get that middle value only. That means still you can expect you will be getting 35. Mean is not manipulative if you are having an outlier. Basically, we consider mean is sensitive to an outlier, but median is not sensitive to an outlier. Got my point? Or if you want to showcase with some simple example, if you are talking about age only, you are having something like 20, 30, 40, 25 like this. Or say for example, 32. If you are performing an average, somewhere the average you will be getting like 30, yeah? Somewhere like 30, something like that you will get average. Am I right? If you are performing mean, you'll get something like 30 or somewhere like that. Median also you will be getting something like 30 only. Yes or no? Agreeing with this, everyone? But now let's go with a simple outlier. Outlier, I'll be including 20, 30, 40, 120, 130. Now, if I'm performing an average age, now see what you will get. 100, 200, so for example, 270 by 5. Now the average you will get somewhere around 80 or 90 somewhere, 3 digits. Average, is it your average then? No? No. But in case if you are going with median, still you will get that 40. Got my point? So it's always best practice to go with median instead of mean. So how to impute a value, how to change the value from one particular position to the other position. So these things we are going to discuss in stats part. Okay. So stats eventually it's little boring subject only, but understanding this particular subject with all the remaining tools is really essential. That is what I'm trying to explain. Without understanding statistics, you will not understand how to deal with data. Technical understanding is something we can do. Directly, you can launch a Power BI application. You can just utilize one pie chart. You can add some data. You'll get that pie chart. If you want to do the same visualization in Tableau, you'll do something. You'll do that. If you want to write an SQL query, you'll write an SQL query in SQL and you'll get that part. Fine. But how to handle the data is something we'll be learning in stats part. Why? Because these kind of concepts comes into picture. Outliers, extreme values, null values. In case if you're having these things, how to handle those things. These are all the things that we'll be focusing on. Mean is nothing but average. Median is nothing but middle value. Mode is nothing but most frequently repeated value. Yes or no? So if you are going with median, directly taking a middle value or sorting and taking a middle value? First, you need to sort the data ascending to descending and then you need to pick a median value. Why? Because if I'm having something like 1, 2, 3, 4, 90, the data itself is in a sorted way. If I'm taking median, I can say this is my median value, 3. But in case if you are having a data set like 1, 2, 90, 4, 3. Now, if you are taking the middle value and you are assuming it as median, how problematic it is again? If you are having any data set and if you want to take a median value, first you need to sort it ascending to descending. Now pick the middle value. In case you are having even numbers, average of middle two numbers. Okay. So simple topics. Again, we'll be having a quick revision in stats part to understand how to deal with data. It is essential. Okay. So now we'll go with one more simple topic, understanding samples and population. How many of you are familiar with sample and population? Okay. So let's try to understand sample versus population. So what is it first? Basically, when you are working with a data set and if you are trying to focus on analyzing on that particular data set, usually what happens is instead of focusing on performing analytic part on your entire data set, you will be doing that particular part on a small portion of it. That in itself, we call it a sample. For your easy understandability, so for example, this entire circle, if you are referring it to population, a small section inside this population, you call it a sample. And whenever we are performing any analytic task, always we'll be proceeding with a topic called sample, not on a population. Why? Why we'll be going with sample? Why not with population? First thing first, memory, size, storage, performance. If you are trying to import entire data, what usually happens? Performance degrades. Memory complications comes into picture. But if you're going with a sample, less limitations, performance will not degrade, these things. And second thing is it is cost effective. Sample is cost effective. Take a simple case, guys, don't complicate it. Elections are there. Elections have been conducted. So just before getting that election result, you'll be having something called exit poll. Okay. So what usually happens in exit poll? They will go to one specific locality. They'll do a quick survey. Based upon that particular survey, they will take some insights out of it and they are going to predict what is going to happen for that entire constituency. Am I right? Now, if take a simple case, this entire big circle itself is nothing but population. That means in our example, we are understanding it as constituency, one particular constituency. Now, if that particular survey people who are performing that exit polls, they will go to each and every house in that particular constituency to do a survey. Yes or no? No. Obviously no. Why? It's a very costly process. If they need to target each and every house, what usually happens? Cost, accommodation, food, travel, fuel, everything comes into picture. It's a costly process. But what they usually do is, in that constituency, they'll pick some localities, random localities. They'll go there, they'll do a quick survey, they'll get some outcome. Based upon that particular outcome, they are going to do a quick prediction for your entire constituency. Am I right? Now, whatever the analysis that you are going to perform on a sample and what are the insights results that you're getting from that sample, and you are taking that consideration and you are predicting for your entire population. And that is what usually happens. I hope you got a basic idea what sample and what population is. If you want to take a sample out of your population, we'll be doing with some sampling techniques too. Okay. From population, you need to take a sample. For that, we are going with multiple techniques too. And that in itself, we call it as sampling techniques. So when we are talking about sampling techniques, different techniques are there. So for example, simple random sampling technique, or say for example, you're having something called clustered sampling technique. You're having stratified sampling technique. You're having something called systematic sampling technique. Different sampling techniques are there to extract a sample out of your population. Now, just now we discussed an example like exit poll. Don't you think this in itself is nothing but a simple random sampling technique? Okay. Population constituency is there. Simply randomly they'll pick some localities in that constituency, they'll do a survey. Simple random sampling technique. Or take a simple example. You're having a bucket. Inside that bucket, you're having multiple color balls in it. Multiple color balls are in there. Blindfoldedly, you are just putting your hand inside that bucket and coming up with 4 to 5 balls out of it. Okay, blindfoldedly. You're not seeing anything, you're just putting your hand and coming up with 4 to 5 balls out of it. Now, the total number of balls available inside that bucket is nothing but it's a population. Now, what are the balls that you're having in your hand is nothing but it's a sample. Now, after taking 4 to 5 balls out of that particular bucket, you are just seeing those balls and you can conclude that out of those 5 balls, 4 balls are with white color only. Out of the 5 balls in your hand, 4 balls are with white color only. That means you can simply draw a conclusion that in my sample, majority of the balls, 80% of the balls are with white color. In the same way, now you are predicting for your population too. Okay, maybe in that bucket also, almost 80% of the balls are with white color only. Got my point? Simple random sampling technique. Simple random sampling technique where we usually utilize in real-time applications is no bias. There should be no bias. Okay. At that point of time, you can randomly pick some part from your data set and you can start working upon it. So a simple real-time example, if you want to get, while you're working with something called COVID vaccine. COVID vaccine. If you are extracting a sample of humans out of your population data set, it might be biased. Why? Because you might take a sample of individuals based upon their health, diabetes, non-diabetes, BP, non-BP candidate. You might segment them basically. But if you're randomly taking some sample out of your population, you don't know who is coming. Got my point? What I mean to say? So on that specific sample, if you're working on this particular dosage part, you will get that exact accurate results. It's not like no bias, nothing. Based upon unbiased sample, you're performing some analysis and you're getting that outcome. Got my point? So wherever you don't want to put any bias, there you'll be going with simple random sampling technique. Clustered sampling technique is something like basically you're clustering the entire population into portions, segments. So for example, anyone remembered while we are having that situation like COVID lockdown, COVID cluster? What does this COVID cluster mean? A locality where majority of the individuals have been affected with COVID. So usually if you are dividing it into cluster, we can take some precautions. If any random delivery guy is coming, we just need to make sure that guy needs to wear a mask, sanitize. If any person, individual who is coming from that community going outside roaming, some limitations are there, right? You're just clustering, putting into multiple clusters, dividing and segmenting. In simple understanding, segmentation. Okay. You're having something called stratified sampling technique. You're dividing, you're stratifying. So for example, you're having a data set relating to health, anything based upon patient's data, anything. There is one column called gender, male, female. You're just stratifying it. Male as one particular sample, female as one particular sample. And if you want to work with analytic part on one particular sample like male, you will start working upon it. And if you want to perform some analytics on that female sample, you can start working upon it, stratifying the data. You're having something called systematic sampling technique. In a systematic, orderly way, you are just creating a sample out of your population. So for example, take a simple use case. You're going to a shopping mall, or say for example, a superstore, say for example, DMart. Assume that it's 2020, COVID situation is there. So basically there is the person who checks constant vitals, everything, right? If you are entering into DMart or any shopping mall, there is a person who showcases that particular vitals, everything, check that part. Now, say for example, you're taking a population between who are the customers coming to DMart between 10 a.m. in the morning to 11 a.m. in the morning. So basically you're having 1 hour of time frame. Assume that between 10 to 11, 100 customers are coming to DMart. Okay, 100 customers are coming to DMart between 10 to 11. Now you're just giving an instruction to that particular person who is checking the vitals that don't check the vitals for entire population. Don't check the vitals for entire population for all the 100 individual, 100 customers. Check for the first customer, leave remaining 10 customers, and again check the 11th customer. Again leave 10 customers, let them enter into the mall. Again focus on the 21st customer. In simple language, what I mean to say is the sample size I am putting it as n equals to 10. What is the population size? What is the sample size? 10. So first individual, if you are checking, leave remaining 10 individuals, let them enter into DMart, but focus on 11th. Once after checking 11th, again let them enter remaining 10 customers, again focus on 21st. In that orderly basis, systematic basis, you will be focusing on taking a sample. Now eventually after 11 o'clock, You are having a sample size of 10. That means you took the vitals of these 10 customers. Now, take a simple case. Now you are analyzing this sample. Now you are analyzing this 10 customers data. Out of this 10 customers data, you will be understanding that for 8 customers, fever is there. Out of the sample 10, almost 8 individuals is having fever. Got my point? Now automatically what you can predict for your population? Almost 80 customers inside the DMart also might be having fever. So what I mean to say is, if you want to analyze the data, if you want to predict something for your data set based upon some predictions forecasting part, it's always best practice to analyze the data based upon sample, not on population. The main reasons is, if you are doing it in a population, what usually happens is memory waste, storage waste, performance issues comes, performance degrades, costly process. These all things comes into picture. But while you are going with the sample, it's very cost effective process. At the same point of time, it will not take so much of memory. Performance will not degrade. Eventually, what is the biggest problem is, if you're working with these tools and if you're working with something big data, the data itself is continuously coming. It's a dynamic thing. It's not a static thing, right? It's a dynamic. So for example, if you're working with these companies like Zomato, Swiggy, all these things, data itself will never stop. Continue, continue, continue. Each and every second, each and every minute, orders are happening, automatically records have been inserted into the table. It's a dynamic data. At that point of time, if you're going with an entire population, serious issues comes into picture. So at that point of time, these things will help you out. You will take a simple sample out of it and you call it as a sample. And you're having one more type called bias sampling technique. That means biasly you are taking some sample out of your population based upon some biased part. Okay. So different sampling techniques will be there. So this is something, a quick introduction, how the sampling techniques work, what is a sample, what is a population. These all things also need to focus on. Okay. So you got a basic idea. Okay. So basically what we is to cover in statistics is, for your understanding, we'll be covering descriptive stats as well as inferential stats. As far as descriptive statistics is concerned, we'll be focusing more upon understanding measures of central tendency, measures of dispersion, measures of dispersion in the sense spread of data. Where we'll be discussing about variance, standard deviation, these concepts. And we'll be focusing on sample, population, sampling techniques in detail. And then we'll be focusing more upon understanding probability topics, distributions. Distributions in the sense, in probability distributions will be there. Binomial, Bernoullis, Poisson distribution, Gaussian distribution, normal distribution. Different distribution curves are there. Empirical formulas, right? Outliers, IQR, interquartile range, skewness. So different topics we'll be focusing on. As far as inferential stats is concerned, we'll be focusing on understanding some topics like hypothesis testing, where you'll be focusing on null hypothesis, alternate hypothesis, and you'll be focusing on some tests too. Chi-square test, ANOVA test, t-test, two-tailed t-test, regressions. So tests will be there. Tests are nothing but you are taking one use case, one example, and you're going to validate that statement. For that, we'll be performing some tests. Okay. In detail, we'll be covering basic to advanced in stats too. Okay. So what I mean to say is, as far as data analyst or business analyst is concerned, descriptive stats is more than enough. It's sufficient, but still we'll be including inferential stats too. In case in future, if you're applying for any jobs like machine learning, deep learning, data scientist roles, there also it will help you out. Okay. So these are all the things that we'll be focusing on stats part. So basically, in a nutshell, multiple modules are there. So what we usually do is from Monday, well, we're starting a batch, right? We'll pick one particular tool and we'll go with the introductory part to that particular tool for the first day. And from second day, we'll be directly jumping into with the main concepts available in it. All the options, what are all the things available, we'll be focusing on that part. Once that particular module itself is completed, we'll be focusing on a small assignment kind of thing. As I mentioned, Google Classroom is there, right? So there itself, I'll be providing the questions, everything based upon that particular part. So I'll be able to complete that part. Then we'll be proceeding with text module. And then after completion of it, again, next module. The same thing goes with that part. Okay. So like that, we'll be completing all the tools like Excel, SQL, Power BI, Tableau, Python, as well as statistics. In Python also, it's not like we are just focusing more upon the core Python. Along with core Python, we need to focus more upon data analytics with Python. So there we'll be focusing the libraries like NumPy, Pandas, Matplotlib, Seaborn, these things. End of the day, learning Python as a data analyst is something different. Learning Python for data scientist is a little different. Learning Python for a web developer, it is a little different. What I mean to say is, either you are applying for a role like full stack developer or a web development or a data analyst or a data scientist or a data engineer, Python will be helpful, but how you are utilizing that Python is something different for you and for them. First thing first, core Python we need to understand. Core Python in the sense, the basic syntax of Python. That means what is the indentation mean, what is the syntax mean, whether case sensitive or case insensitive, what are the loops available in it, what are the data types available in it, what are the data structures available in it. This is something basic. This is something we need to learn as a basic thing. If you are applying for any role, this is mandatory. Once we are pretty much clear with the basic Python, core Python part, then we'll be advancing with libraries part. As a data analyst or a business analyst, we are more interested in performing data analytics with Python. Further, the useful libraries are like NumPy, Pandas, Matplotlib, Seaborn. In case if the person is applying for a job role like data scientist, they might be utilizing some other libraries like scikit-learn, TensorFlow, Keras. Those things are different. So for web development phase, for those again different frameworks, Django, right? So these things will be different. So how we are utilizing that language based upon this parts, that is something we need to focus on. Okay. So clear with this stats part. So the only small suggestion is, it might be a little boring, but this is directly, basically this will directly help you out in all the tools. Why? Because either you're going with Excel or SQL or Power BI or Tableau, anything, there some direct options are there with statistic integrations. So those options, if you want to utilize in these tools, first thing first, we need to understand theoretical understanding. And remember, once if you're pretty much clear with the theoretical understanding part, utilizing the same statistical topics in tools, it's a cakewalk. There it's all about just option available, function available, that's it. Directly you just need to checkbox that function, or if you're writing any code for it, Python or SQL, you just need to integrate and you need to utilize that function. That's it. Automatically you'll get that entire understanding output. But to understand that, we need to be familiar with this theoretical part. That is something we'll be going with statistics part module. This in itself will take easily 10-15 days of time. Stats. Okay. Okay. I think they'll update. Ramesh, are you there? Depends. See, I'll provide, but I'll highly suggest you to take your personal notes as well. If any point you're feeling important, definitely I'll highly suggest you to take your note as well, right? So based upon that, we can. Okay. So maybe I think they'll provide the number on Monday, I guess, Prashant. Ramesh, are you there? Students are asking about admin number. So the Python of data analytics and data science is different or somewhat same? Somewhat same. If you are utilizing Pandas library in data analytics part, the data scientist people will also utilize Pandas library. But here you might be utilizing Matplotlib and C1. Data scientists might not utilize Matplotlib and C1 much. They might be going with scikit-learn. And the scikit-learn library itself is utilized for machine learning part. They usually do with machine learning. Print and split the data. For that, scikit-learn helps. And here Matplotlib C1, these are the libraries which are utilized for data visualization purpose. Pie charts, donut charts, all those things. Again, you might get it out. Sir, in Power BI already completed visuals. In Tableau also you're mentioning visuals are there. Again in Python, why visuals? Job description. Yes or no? So every company will not only focus on a tool Power BI. Some companies ask Power BI, some are asking Tableau, some ask Python. So if you're familiar with all those things, we can apply for these. That's it. Fabric, it's a community where you can integrate everything. It's an integration with Power BI, Microsoft part. So it's something like a data warehouse kind of thing. Whatever the question that you're asking, it's an inbuilt ecosystem connected with all the services in it. It will provide you some output as an answer. It's better if you're learning, definitely. Okay. Fabric, Power Apps, or anything relating to cloud in future. These things will also help you out, definitely. Okay. Regular classes will be starting from Monday, Ramya. Okay. So Prashant, fees I think 15K or 21K. I think based on recordings part, it will change. And placement assistance will be provided once course itself has been completed. Okay. Apart from regular classes, any lab mentor? Yes, lab mentor support will be provided. Arjun, offline participants, especially if you're attending the classes, and even online also you're having virtual lab support, I guess. But offline still, I think in first floor, I guess. Uh, um, First floor, third. Okay. Third, I guess. Their mentors will be there. I may not be there, but mentors will be there. So they'll help you out. Any questions, any doubts, their systems will be there. You can go there and you can practice there as well. Support will be provided. Okay. No. Basic maths itself there now. Okay. Looking for data analytics with AI for experienced guys, not from the basics. Any other course or trainee available? Uh, Looking for data analytics with AI for experienced guys, not from the basics. Any other? See, this in itself is completed with experienced part itself, basic to advanced part. If still anything you can consider. What about duration of course? It will be 3 months, Prashant. Yes, obviously, right? Online or offline, both are students only, right? Support will be there for both. Okay. I'm looking for this. I have experience in pharma sales as a second line manager for this course, and my experience can give you jobs and salary hikes. Definitely, if you are thinking about to traversing the shift your career in the technical part, analytics part, then definitely it will help you out. And majority of the cases, if you are already familiar with any of the one specified tool, and experienced people, even you can take a leverage of that. Okay. Most probably we'll go with Power BI, Vivek, and then we'll go with the next coding part. Okay. As I mentioned yesterday, right? First, it's better to go with data visualization tool, and then we'll go with one coding tool. The thing is, directly if I'm jumping into coding or a subject like stats, okay, within first 5 to 10 days, also the students' interest will come down eventually. That is for sure, right? Uh, Data visualization is something more of visualizations, coloring, formatting, these things. But still, if you want to go with coding part, still we can go with that Python or SQL. Anything works. Okay. So depending upon your interest, we'll proceed further. But admin told me that no lab mentor will be provided for this batch. Is it available for offline student only? See, it will be there, Arjun. I don't know why they mentioned like that. Maybe for offline it will be there for sure. Okay. Admins. Okay, you are asking about admin. Any counselor? I think counselor number will be there, right, Prashant? So I think you can connect with counselor. They'll update you, or else they'll give a call back. Okay, you can receive it. Tomorrow we are not having session, guys. On Monday we'll be connecting. Okay. Offline అయితే class ఏ time, sir? Same time, right, Lakshmi? Either offline or online, same time. Okay. Taking parallelly. Online students, you're just joining through WebEx. Offline students just sitting in front of me. Okay. different time in the sense, I may. Okay. Same time. 7:30 to 9. Yeah, Atul. Definitely. Okay. Bignesh, tomorrow there is no session. Directly we'll be connecting on Monday. Okay. So offline, any doubt still? Is everything clear? Sorted for today? No. Based Monday to Friday sessions will be there. That is for sure. Saturday, most probably we'll put the sessions, but maybe I may not be available in middle at that point of time. Maybe we'll not have it. But majority will be having session. Monday to Friday, it's for sure, 100%. See, classes directly will be starting from Monday. Okay. I think demo classes, it's fine, right? It's fine. Okay. So directly we can start with the main session. We'll start the batch from Monday onwards. Okay. The same time. Then we can proceed further. So I think it's clear. So then we'll lab practice for online. How we will get any assistance expert the class time, so there is duality between online student and offline student in terms of mentor support. I think I'll ask this part, Arjun and Samya. Maybe I guess for online also support will be there. I think you can give a call. It's there. Online participants also, if you're having any problem, any doubt relating to that, you can directly call back to mentor. They'll be available. Okay. So that is there. I don't know how they mentioned it. The support is there. Okay. I usually see, right? If you're still having a confusion, you can connect. Okay. But especially for offline, you're having class itself. I think third floor, that mentors will be there. Directly you can go there and you can work with it. Okay. So for today's class, is it to understand and detail? Okay. It's easy to understand. Okay, fine. Then I think it's a good compliment. Starts today. How many of you are clear with today's understanding? Clear? Okay, nice. So I thought today you are a little bored. Uh, if you enjoyed, it's fine. Well enjoyed. Right. Lab timings, I think you can go anytime during the daytime, Narayana. From Monday, we'll be starting the new batch, Sangeeta. Okay. Okay, right, Alam. Perfect. So, okay then. Okay. If no doubts are there, then we'll wind up the session. I think, guys, someone asked, right? I want admin number. So, just provide it. Ramesh. Okay. The admin is Ramesh. So, the number itself is again provided in the chat window. You can take this number and you can connect with him. So, I'll guide you. Okay. If any doubts, you can connect with him. So, in the meanwhile, the files, I'll be sharing some files as well in the Google Classroom. You can connect there, and in Google Classroom, you can take that access. So, yeah, I think that's all about for today. Okay. Let's connect on Monday. So, happy weekend, guys. Okay. Right. Okay. Bye, guys, everyone. Good night.